rate the NFC North. And I want an answer from both you guys. Last year, we were 4th in the fucking division, right? However, you could still make a case or an argument that we were better than the Packers. I mean, the first game, we lost by a blocked field goal. We definitely were in position to sit there and pull that game away if that kick didn't get blocked. The second time around, we actually pulled through and did win the game, right? So you can make a case that we're very close to winning both games. And I kept saying it, at some point, this tide is going to turn, right? And then you got the Lions and the Vikings. So the Vikings being Karl's second favorite team, the only thing that can bar injury. Now, I'm going to start with you, Karl, because I know how much you love J.J. McCarthy and how much you're rooting for him. But, the only thing that can really happen that can change our opinions is injury, right? And it happens during training camps. Like if Justin Jefferson goes out there and gets injured, we might not project J.J. McCarthy to do as well as we project him to do now, right? But barring that, just with where the teams are at now, give me a 1 through 4. I don't know. Karl, you want to start with you?
Yeah. I mean,
do it.
I'll start off by splattering the egg on my face. I've got the Vikings as the clear-cut number 1 team in the division.
You splatter a lot of things on your face.
Hey, yo! Hopefully not Johnny's beef.
First 5 minutes, and
hopefully not any Johnny's beef on my face. Anyway.
All right. Sorry.
Anyway, Vikings. They are extremely talented, and the only real question mark, of course, is the quarterback position. I'm not going to go out here and pull a Fox Sports and release propaganda saying that I think McCarthy is the 12th best quarterback in the NFL. That's bullshit. Now, if McCarthy is the 20th, 22nd best quarterback and doesn't contribute to losses and cause the losses, I think the Vikings are the team to beat. Behind them, not the Lions, I've got the Packers. Not to say that the Packers are very, very good. We all know their quarterback is extremely overpaid, general terrible. It's that schedule and that head coach, for me, that I think is going to guarantee the Packers to win at least 10 games. Maybe it's 9, maybe it's 11, I don't know. I think they're a 10-win football team based on the schedule and their head coach essentially alone. Third place, and it's going to be a battle in Week 18 in my opinion, but I've got the Bears in third place. I do think that the brain drain that was experienced by the Lions is going to be too much for them to overcome. To go from the number 1 overall seed to the 4th place in the NFC North would be crazy, but you didn't just lose your coaches, you lost your all-pro starting center, and they're regaining their defensive pieces, but at the end of the day, Hutchinson's coming off that insane leg injury, right? So if he's going to have a good year, I don't think it's going to be consistent the whole year. It'll take him a bit to ramp up, in my opinion. And I think that the Bears have made too many upgrades to stay in the cellar, so to speak. Again, another young team. Are they going to figure it out right away? I doubt it. But I do think that they have enough talent, and I believe in this coaching staff, that it will get them to the point where they start winning games, but it won't come early enough. So again, top to bottom, Vikings, Packers, Bears, Lions.
And then, Karl, just to follow that up real quick, I know you guys did your ratings on BCP. Where'd you have them win-loss-wise? The Bears.
I had the Bears at 7-10.
Okay, all right, that would.
So yeah, again, you can see where I'm going with this. 7-10.
I just wanted to test your consistency. I don't want you going on one show and being like playoffs, and then coming on here.
I think that Lions and the Bears will both go into the Week 18 matchup at 6-10. Yes, yeah, that'd have to be that record, right? No, yeah, 17 games, 6-10, and then the winner would be 7-10. The loser would be 6-11. I think that's exactly how it'll shake out.
I am totally interested in how you have them numbered. So let's hear it.
Me, I really haven't thought it through, so I don't have Karl's well thought out plan of how he said it. I just think it's all going to come down to whoever's quarterback is the best in most teams.
Son of a bitch. That was my follow-up question, Dave. I was going to ask you guys next. Well, who's got the best quarterback? And
that's I think what it's going to come down to, and the Jared Goff drop-off is going to be something to be studied, I think, just in terms of finding out how good he is without Ben Johnson. I don't know if he's going to be bad without him, but I assume he's not going to be very good.
So can
I go two ways. This could be fucking pedal to the metal. It's time to go. It's not going to get any easier. And if I'm any good, I got to show it now because fucking the team.
But you're putting the pedal to the metal on a Neo Geo. when Ben Johnson had a fucking Ferrari. So I don't know about like pedal to the metal here.
I just wanted to explain the exact situation with the interior of the offensive line for the Lions. All pro center Frank Ragnow retired due to various of injuries, including a permanently broken toe, right? So you got to figure it out, and you lost Zeitler as well. Not to say that Zeitler was a world beater. He's a good player, and I don't know if the talent is any worse here, but they're going to rely on a guy who, with the last name of Mahogany, who I ironically think is also from Boston College, may have some ties with Ozzie Trapillo. But he was a rookie last year. This is going to be his second year in the NFL. And they also drafted Tate Ratledge in the start of the second round, or middle of the second round, whatever it was. And he's going to be another starter. Who plays where? Left guard, right guard, center? I don't know. But you're going to have 1 year of NFL experience between two of your three interior positions. That's not going to be very, very easy for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to continue the rankings, like at the end of the day, we're talking about who got better, who got worse on which side. And I look at it in 8 categories, right? Because it's offense on one side, defense on the other. The Vikings probably got worse on offense. About the same, if not. You can cancel Sam Darnold, but then you would get, the offensive linemen they signed over the offseason and maybe some of the running back moves and stuff like that. But like the Vikings didn't upgrade tremendously through the draft. I don't remember who they drafted, but I know they only had 3 picks total.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of picks. They spent a lot of money in free agency.
They're taking a chance, man. Like, because Sam Darnold was pretty even, and so maybe J.J. McCarthy gives you a higher ceiling.
Who did they get from the Colts? They got the older guy
They got 2 players from the Colts. They got Will Fries, the guard, who they are paying an exorbitant amount of money, and then his running mate Ryan Kelly at center.
Right. So
to replace Bradbury.
So I think that kind of tells you where they think the offensive line is and what they need J.J. McCarthy to do. So let's say they broke even. On defense, the Vikings did not get better. I don't think they got worse, but what did I miss, Karl?
They got really better, man. They spent a lot of money. They got Jonathan Allen.
Jonathan Allen. Okay, you're right. The 2 defensive tackles. I apologize. Yeah, so so the Vikings definitely got better on both sides of the ball or broke even. So Vikings I would put at power ranking number 1. Packers, I think they stayed the same. That one I can confidently say Packers stayed the same on offense. If not, got a little bit worse. I think for them, a little bit of what their problem was and always is under Jordan Love is Jordan Love forces them to pigeonhole all these receivers into roles instead of kind of just keeping the offense simple. So then it's a lot of just offensive innovation, right? So Jordan Love doesn't necessarily, I think they would have, if they could have gotten one of these wide receivers in the offseason, but they didn't. So let's say Packers stayed the same on offense, same on defense. That puts them at number 2 with Karl. I think the Lions got tremendously worse on offense, I think in every single possible way. They got the same, if not worse, on defense. They lost a corner, gained a corner. Like you said, Aiden Hutchinson's kind of coming back. They haven't picked up any offseason guys, so they got probably worse, if not broke even. And then the Bears probably stayed the same on defense with scheme, hopefully got better. And then on offense, I don't think there's a debate to say that they got better. So I would have my rankings, uninterestingly, the same as Karl's. So it'd be Vikings, Packers, Bears, Lions.
Both you guys. Interesting.
But again, it all comes down to the performance of quarterbacks, like you said. I think Jordan Love is finally due for a regression. Yes, I think he's just been the same fucking guy, and it's just not think he's
that good. Look at the optics too. If Jordan Love is completing a lot of his deep balls off of his back foot, law of averages would suggest that there's going to be. Crimson said it in the chat. They're going to have a lot more turnovers. I don't know if I directly agree with Crimson saying that Love takes the check down. I think he'd be better suited to take the check down more often. But in any event, I mean, the quarterback sucks. Proof is in the pudding.
J.J. McCarthy, if he end up sucking right away, I mean, they're just fucked for the entire season.
No, I'll go out on a limb and say that McCarthy is a kid who, regardless of the talent, ability, he's not going to be a guy who's very easily shaken. Especially pair that with his head coach. Maybe he's just bad, but it would really impress me in the sense to say that he's going to be the reason they lose games. I don't know if I can believe that.
And that's the key there, Karl. It's for the Vikings, all McCarthy has to do is not lose the games.
Exactly.
Right? Whereas from like our position, we need Caleb to lead this team to
Stole
victories.
my thunder, bro.
And I sure did. I just fucking snatched it. And we saw him do that though. We saw him multiple times put this team in position. Like, there's only so much you can do as a quarterback. Dude, even the Washington game, he fucking pulled Eberflus off the field at the end. Like, he's got more awareness than the head coach.
That was one of his 5 failed comeback attempts.
Right. So, like, the team effort last year was awful. And, like, I have never seen a group of guys give up like that. And he got sacked over and over and over, and yet still we saw some amazing clutch moments from that quarterback. And so there's a possibility that Caleb rises in the charts of, the better quarterbacks in the NFC North at least. But right now, the most seasoned, the most consistent quarterback, and it's the one I hate the most, is Jared Goff. Right? Like, he's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to an NFC Championship recently. Like, if anybody has the resume right now, it is him. And so I think we will see a regression from him, because I think he leaned a lot, like you guys both said. I think he leaned a lot on other factors around him, because, man, I don't think he's that good. I went to a game when he was on the Rams where it was 15-9. It was in the cold, and I remember thinking, like, this guy can't even grip the ball in the cold. Like, nothing but field goals. But, I mean, neither could we at the time, so –
I think a lot of it comes down to us overanalyzing, as we do in the offseason, is like Jared Goff is just not that fucking good. Like, he is a bottom 12, bottom third of the league quarterback that had an amazing offense. He's a bottom 12 quarterback. He's talent-wise, like,
I could
he's
say
a bottom 33%.
He's generally a guy who I could say there's probably either 16 quarterbacks better or 16 quarterbacks worse. He's literally dead center, and his issue is his lack of mobility. And you guys are spot on here. I just want to throw this in. What's your justification? Well, it's Sean McVay. Sean McVay signed off on trading that son of a bitch away, and what happened? They won a Super Bowl. So
I was going to say, lack of mobility. Who's more mobile, Matt Stafford or Jared Goff? Like, at the end of the day, they literally traded him away so that they could win a Super Bowl, right? And so as much as he achieves, like, that's the ultimate goal. And
when we say Jared Goff is good, Jared Goff has been good under 2 coaches, Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. It's literally the 2 best possible offensive coordinating minds for a quarterback of his, like, skill level stature that possibly could have happened. So with him having neither of those guys, I can't really imagine him just being super successful all of a sudden when the odds against him have been stacked for the first year ever.
I think the way I would put it, right? And Karl, I hear you typing. Mute yourself.
I'm talking to Grok. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. You and your AI buddy. But making pictures of people getting sacrificed in the middle of the field.
Yeah, with 3 arms. But Paul, please continue.
No, so I think the best way to put it is, I think Jared Goff is good enough in the NFL to be able to listen and execute. I don't think he's good enough to command, if that makes sense. I think as long as he like Patrick Mahomes has Matt Nagy. It almost, and I'm not saying Matt Nagy's the worst, but he's not the best. Like, dude, but he doesn't need the best offensive coordinator to be Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, he's good enough to command that offense.
Hold on. Are we glazing over Big Red Andy Reid?
Andy Reid does call the plays. That's true. But, yeah, because Andy Reid was in this league for 20 years, and he didn't win his first Super Bowl until he finally had Patrick Mahomes, right? So if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that offense hung with Alex Smith in Kansas City. Mahomes took him over.
Whereas Jared Goff literally got traded away so the team that traded him could win a Super Bowl, right? So that told me, like, he's good, but they didn't think he was good enough to go out there and do it. And even on the Lions, we saw him make the NFC North championship, the NFC championship, but he didn't win a ring, right? And I don't see him taking steps forward anymore. Like, I think he's kind of reached his peak, and he's had 2 good chances at it. I don't think he's good enough to command an offense with less pieces to have more success moving forward.
I think you broke it down very simply. Like last year was his best surrounding cast, and they barely got out of the first round, got bounced in the second round to, Washington.
The Skins.
And it's not getting any better for him. So what is the argument here that Jared Goff all of a sudden is just like carrying the team, putting it on his back and everything? Like, it's just not realistic. So I think more than being hypercritical, it's just like common sense. What are we seeing here that makes anybody think that, the Lions are going to be a powerhouse for the third year in a row? It just doesn't really make sense.
I just fact-checked myself here with Grok. Dan Campbell's record with the Detroit Lions before Ben Johnson became the offensive coordinator in 2022 was 3-13-1 tie in the 2021 season. So, again, how big of a loss is Ben Johnson? I'd wager that it's a massive loss.
Yeah, especially if it goes back to that trend, right? So, and we tend to give, do you remember Matt Eberflus before Montez Sweat came on this team? And all of a sudden, Matt Eberflus is a great defensive mind and this and that. No, this defense was jack shit before they got a pass rusher that could actually rush the passer, right? So I think a lot of the times those coaches take some of the credit for the talent on the team. So I'll agree with you guys here. Vikings, number one. Now, the last 2 years, I've had them at number 4. I thought they were supposed to suck, and they just kept proving me wrong. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with the Lions like a motherfucker last year. I really like Kevin O'Connell. I really like what Brian Flores is doing with that defense. I think even with J.J. McCarthy, I think I give them the most chance to be number 1. And then the rest of the list, I think you could convince me any which way. Honestly, I think the only thing I'm most sure about is Vikings at 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. I mean, this division was so damn competitive last year. I know we were in 4th, but there were a lot of wins here, right? So I don't believe in the Packers. I think it's time for them to suck. I really do. I could totally see us moving up from 4 to 2. I would not be surprised if that happened.
I want to address the elephant in the room. I mean, you already said it, I think, Paul, where our quarterback is going to have to be responsible for a lot of production. I don't think the Bears are going to have a viable running game. And I do think that's because of their poor quality at the overall running back room. Kyle Monunga, I keep hearing it every single day. Oh, he wasn't a 7th-round pick. He was a 5th-round pick. Okay. We don't have anything in that running back room. And DeAndre Swift, if you're listening, please fucking prove me wrong, because you're getting paid more money than I will ever make in my entire lifetime just in 2025 alone, buddy. Let's see it. We have the offensive line, to my understanding, but this running back room, I think it's terrible.
So to address the Caleb thing, I mean, of any quarterback in the NFC North, I still put him at number 1 in terms of overall production. I would say in terms of what he's done making chicken salad out of chicken shit, I would put him at number 1 in terms of potential still by far. And then
that's why I say Goff has the resume, right? That's really all he has, though.
But from last year, okay, and this is one of those things where I want to be critical of Caleb. I do, because there's still definitely things that I don't think he does well, like throwing the deep ball right now. I've heard even in mini camps that's not a great thing in OTAs. But the guy had absolutely nothing last year in terms of help, support, coaching, scheme, and I never saw him make the same mistake twice. The guy went 11 games without throwing an interception. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing in terms of not taking risks and everything. But I cautiously am optimistic to, I would say if there's one thing, this is an off season for the Bears of a lot of uncertainty. I don't know if Ben Johnson's a good coach. I think he is because of all the things I've heard and what I've been told. I think that Dennis Allen's a good pairing. And I think that, and Prometheus, thank you. 68 sacks also with absolutely no offensive line. And he fought
I was going to say, no interceptions in 11 games. You're going to open your body up to more hits.
And he stayed relatively healthy. He was really good at taking hits, and he I've seen interviews where he talks about that as a science, like how to take hits, what proper body weight and body fat percentage to be to prevent injuries instead of all muscle and all that stuff. He's like, the guy's smart. The guy knows what to do in terms of quarterback. He's also psychotic in terms of his work ethic and wanting to be great. And the excuses are all gone too. Like, this is the number one choice he wanted. This is the number one. He's gotten receiver after tight end. I mean, the only thing I guess you could argue he hasn't gotten is like a complimentary running back, but he got the offensive line, he got the receivers, he got the coach. The person I'm the most confident in this offseason in the Bears franchise. I don't have supreme confidence in Ryan Poles or Ben Johnson because I just don't know what they're capable of. But I've seen Caleb Williams like make chicken salad out of chicken shit. I think that's going to be my favorite player moving forward, not because he's just a quarterback and, you know, like I'm going to make excuse for the quarterback. We love being critical. Like, we love being, you know, saying that Justin Fields can't do this, Justin Fields can't do that. Now we're like, it's our next guy. We'll say if he can't do shit. And if Caleb Williams can't perform, he's not going to perform. But I don't know, man. Like, it's my area of least concern. If I had to do a power ranking of what I'm the most concerned about versus the least concerned about going into this offseason and like who needs to have their hand held, I put Caleb Williams almost near the bottom, like next to the veterans. I think the guy's a psychopath. I think he's going to be really, really adaptable. I think he's going to do really, really well in Ben Johnson's system, regardless of whether he gets it right away or doesn't. I think, again, like, people are worried, oh, first off season with a new head coach and this or whatever. But like, the guy went through 3 offensive coordinators in one fucking offseason of his rookie year, and he was fine. And now we have a full offseason with one of the best offensive minds that apparently was available, and we're like worried about Caleb Williams' development all of a sudden. Like, this is the time to not be worried.
Yeah, I'm scrambling for my quote because I want to stay consistent on this. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, so I'm going to have to try and Chrome Dome, okay? Caleb Williams, in a season where he had 3 different offensive coordinators, 2 different head coaches, and an offensive line that never featured the ideal starting 5 that Ryan Poles envisioned, equated to the most total yards from a Bears quarterback in single season history, and he did it as a rookie. So whatever Dave just said, bravo, spot on, man. I agree with it fully.
I look at it in 2 different ways, right? One, we were like 4th in the division last year, right? So take Jared Goff, put him on the Bears. Does he do better than Caleb did last year?
Put Jared Goff on the Bears in 2024?
Last year, yeah. No, probably not.
No, hold on.
Jared Goff
Take Jordan Love and put him on the Bears. Does he do better than Caleb? Take Sam Darnold, put him on the Bears. Does he do better? And then I would do the opposite. I would say, okay, the Vikings are probably the most talented, solid team. Caleb on the Vikings, does he do better than Sam Darnold? Jordan Love on the Vikings, does he do better? Jared Goff on the Vikings, does he do better? And like, so yes, the potential for Caleb Williams is one thing, but that's a long-term outlook, right? If we're just talking about now, this next upcoming year, you know, there's 2 different ways to play, with help or without help. Karl, you mentioned we don't have a running game, right? Like, the reason why Russell Wilson won 2 Super Bowls is because he had a defense and a running game. He didn't have to do it all himself. Okay, so we are putting a lot on Caleb's shoulders. I think he can handle it. If you're trying to achieve the ultimate success, that's the best way to go, is to have a quarterback. It's the quarterback-driven league. But, I mean, we're also in the same process. We're helping him on offense, but still, it's like no running game's kind of shitty. Defense really has to step it up here, right?
This is my greatest fear, is that Caleb Williams is always going to have to deal with 8 on every play. What do I mean by that? He's going to have to deal with 8 rushers or 8 in coverage. That running game's not going to keep anyone honest. So is Caleb Williams going to be good enough to overcome that? Is Caleb Williams going to throw for 5,000 yards? I don't know. I don't think it'll happen soon. Towards the end of the year, I think they get on a run. Maybe the running game catches fire somehow, some way. I don't know. But to start things off, at the very least, I think I have the Bears going on like only winning 1 out of their first 5 or 6 games. Like, it's not going to be pretty.
Wow.
Depending on, just to play devil's advocate, because I think Karl is being a little bit dramatic about the running back talent in the room.
Absolutely.
A little
Yeah, I mean,
bit like
Isaiah Pacheco was it?
shut the fuck up. Let me finish. Who's better? Who's better? DeAndre Swift or Isaiah Pacheco?
Now, this is
In a
awkward
vacuum.
because we're talking about the predecessor, not the predecessor, the guy who took over for Pacheco at Rutgers was Kyle Monunga. So
But,
if
like,
I think it's low hanging fruit to
Guys,
compare those two
the guy
because it's
who
very
turned over
valid.
7th round pick is another
one question at a time. Like
No,
who's
like
better? In
I'm
a
talking about a
vacuum, like, you put
Rutgers
DeAndre
legend who runs hard. Like I can see the comparison.
David
Guys,
DeAndre
if you
Swift.
put DeAndre Swift
DeAndre Swift
on the Chiefs,
Oh,
if you put
yeah,
DeAndre
right.
Swift on the Chiefs, I think you're talking
I
about
don't know, bro.
$1,400 all-purpose yards.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
no,
Bro.
I agree.
No.
Because-
Listen, here's my justification. He was on the Eagles. And the Eagles had a better offensive line than the Chiefs do now than they did last year. And they had a better offensive line than Saquon Barkley just ran through. A better running back helped the Eagles with the same group of talent with a lesser offensive line. That helped them win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because they leaned on that guy, and he was what, a 2nd overall pick? The Chiefs
Top
don't
5.
have to lean on their running game because they have
They
the other
sure
things
needed a running
figured
game in
out.
that Super Bowl.
I'm not going to lie to
It
you, Carl.
helps.
Like, here's the issue with that comparison too, and I hear a lot of people make it, including you. You love to lean on that, like DeAndre Swift going to the Eagles. The difference between Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift is a much bigger gap than DeAndre Swift and Isaiah Pacheco. Like that's the difference.
No,
between Saquon
absolutely.
and
Like
any
it's
other
very
running back.
marginal difference. There's like pros and cons on both sides.
I don't
That's
know,
why I
man,
don't think that you
but,
just
like-
plop Swift on the Chiefs. Swift
But-
might struggle to get 1,000 yards if they hone in on him. I don't know.
But if you put Saquon Barkley on the Chiefs, for example, I don't think he does what he does in Philly.
No.
If you
it's
put
less-
Isaiah Pacheco on the Eagles, he's also not getting more than 1,200 all-purpose yards. So I think the difference here is like there's only like one Saquon Barkley, and I would argue that even the difference between putting Derrick Henry on the Eagles is just supremely different.
If you want to have a really awkward conversation, I mean, I think without Jahmyr Gibbs, the Lions also failed to make the playoffs last year. Like Gibbs is another dynamic, special player. So I don't know, man.
There's a value conversation in all running back conversations, but I think the gap between the top tier running backs, which I guess is 3 names, it's Barkley, it's Derrick Henry, and
There's a couple more than
Jahmyr
you're willing
Gibbs,
to
maybe.
admit. There's
I
Barkley,
don't know.
Gibbs, Henry, Bijan Robinson, maybe, but that's an awkward one. I don't think Bijan is that
doesn't
good.
count yet. That doesn't count yet.
So 3 bona fide in my opinion.
But you're saying like there's more than I want to admit. I just said there was 3, and you just named 3. So like 3 out of 32.
I'll have to go deep into the tank. I mean, there's other Jags. I just can't think of their names right now.
But here's the other thing:
GG.
3 out of 32. 3
Then
out
how
of
much do they really
32.
matter? Exactly. You just kind of talk
And
yourself
let's
in the
be
corner.
realistic.
Hold on.
3 out of 30. There's not 32 starting running backs. There's 50 starting running backs every year because every running back room is a split carry thing, or it's somebody's getting hurt. Like the difference is much different. Like quarterbacks is a whole different category. Running backs there's 90 starting running backs all season long. There just is. There's 3 to 4 per team all season long. Like maybe 90 is ridiculous, but 70? There's at least 70 starters in the season for the NFL at running.
Okay. Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it's just
there are some injuries that have to be considered, but I mean, guys like McCaffrey are exceptionally elite.
Were.
Jonathan Taylor, again, I feel like there's injuries involved there, but Jonathan Taylor on a team that has literally no quarterback is still a fantastic running back. I think Alvin Kamara, extremely underrated. I think
34-year-old Alvin Kamara.
Achan is on his way. Probably won't ever reach there, but I want to see what a guy like James Cook, if he's actually truly going to sit out, how much does that impact the Bills? If the Bills regress, don't be the guy that I told you so if James Cook is sitting out.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say not much.
Who's got the worst running back room in the league?
Could be Chicago.
Think it's that bad?
No. I'm just being an asshole about it, let's be honest. I mean, the Vikings running back room is not insanely special. I think it's underrated, right? Aaron Jones is not much worse than DeAndre Swift. The guy, Jordan Mason, that they got from the 49ers, he's a lot better than Roschon Johnson, I can tell you that.
So
it's kind of like
my
what David
point
said
from
to an
my
extreme,
whole
though,
starting
because, like
my
you
whole
said, there's a
start to
bigger
this point,
gap
though.
between the great guys and the good guys. But then the good guys to the back, it's all kind of a mix after that, isn't it, Dave?
I really, my whole point of why I brought this up and like mentioned the whole like just being a little bit dramatic about the running back room is I really don't give a shit if it's Kyle Monungai, DeAndre Swift, or Ian Wheeler at that point. If the fucking offensive line is making some holes this year and there's a better offensive scheme and there's a better running scheme this year, I mean, there are 2,000 all-purpose yards to be had on the ground in this scheme. Where it goes, I don't really give a shit. If it's 800 to DeAndre Swift and it's 500 to Kyle Monungai and it's fucking 400 to Ian Wheeler or whoever the fuck else,
Roschon Johnson.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Like fullback Roschon Johnson with 400 yards all season, like I'm fine with that. There's 2,000 yards to be had if the offensive line is good. So I think the skill level of the running back, I think Ben Johnson, of all people, kind of told you what he thinks of the running back position by not reaching in this draft. And he knew that he could get through this year and probably get 75 to 80% of what he would like to get out of the running back position with these guys in this room without freaking out about it and overdrafting. Where then next year he can go out and get his guy or draft his guy or go get his guy in free agency. And even if he can't, because the cap situation might be fucked to get a expensive running back, I think he's fine with a second or third round running back in next year's class too. I think that is a position where you could just get a guy. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think the Bears told you what they think of it. And Ben Johnson had a lot of control this draft. And I think it speaks to where people were taken. He could have taken anybody he wanted.
Can we circle back to the investment that the Bears have made in their skill group outside of the running back position?
We
have a first-round pick
draft, but
and a second-round pick, tight end. We have a 9th overall wide receiver, a 39th overall wide receiver, and for all intents and purposes, DJ Moore is a first-round pick when they acquired him in that trade with the Panthers, right?
And
that is a lot of capital. So as long as his defense doesn't need serious rehab, don't be surprised if the Bears go running back in round 1 next year if they feel like they're that piece away.
That's the thing, though. You have to figure out.
If they're in the mid-20s, then that's fine.
What about top 10?
Figure out
Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame.
Got to figure out if the quarterback can lead this team.
June 18th.
That's what this year is. If the quarterback shows you he can lead this team, then yeah, you go ahead and you can get a running back and pay a premium to do it.
It's the last piece that's missing on this offense, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, but if the quarterback sucks,
unless the left tackle sucks,
Caleb fails, despite having all the weapons, then a running back investment might not be the biggest thing on your list. So I don't know, Dave. You said
my issue with Carl's comment of like this is the last missing piece on the team, like. The last missing piece on the Eagles team was a guy they got for free by just paying him money.
Right, but that was an all-time blunder. They're going to write documentaries on that. How did the Giants draft a player 5th overall and let him walk for free to their arch rival? Imagine we let Caleb Williams walk to the Packers. How mad would that make you guys?
The last missing piece of the Ravens was Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
the last missing piece of the Buffalo Bills offense was James Cook, who, correct me if I'm wrong, 3rd-round pick, 5th-round pick?
That was a second. Whatever the case is, he's a bit of a jag.
Like,
the 49ers went out and got McCaffrey. Like, you have to
2 or 3,
and then you go to the Super Bowl.
But you have to be in position.
They got it for a 2 or 3 and a 4.
Right, and there's a little bit of baggage there, right? He was dealing with some injuries as well, I'm pretty sure.
Not at the time.
But we knew the Eagles are a playoff team. We knew the Bills are a playoff team. We knew the Ravens are a playoff team. We know 49ers are a playoff team. Those are all playoff teams when they make those moves.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say. So if the Bears surprise us and they go to the playoffs with a winning record...
Then next year
who was the missing piece for Tom Brady? Which running back was the missing piece for
Bill
Tom
Belichick.
Brady? Bill Belichick at running back? Who was the missing running back piece for Patrick
Hey,
Mahomes?
didn't they have Corey Dillon when they won their first couple Super Bowls against like the Rams or whoever it was? Like that was
that was
very
when Tom
good
Brady
running
was
back.
a jag. That was when Tom Brady was
exactly.
But that's
and
the
then
point
and
we're
then
trying
he
to
grew
make
into
is, like,
the go,
Caleb,
and then he was throwing bombs to guys like Dante Stallworth. I know we had a good conversation about him, Paul. So
manslaughter Dante.
Yep.
Hey, yo.
30 days in jail.
Little layup. We were talking basketball before the show, right? Little layup for Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, he laid that.
He
laid that guy down.
But it was in the
Pop
WNBA.
quiz.
So it doesn't
How
count.
many murderers have the Patriots acquired during their dynasty?
Oh, did Antonio Brown actually murder somebody or no? Because that changes that number.
$10,000 bail, man, for someone that famous. Doesn't matter what the fuck he did. He probably just peed on someone. He's a murderer.
Didn't Ray Lewis?
But you're not allowed to talk about that. You can't talk about that.
Who fucking cares,
His
right?
dad hit him. He's allowed to kill.
Yeah, Dave, you had a question about the draft. Let's just great transition there.
So anyway, speaking of murderers, Luther Burden already murdered his own career. His rookie year.
Man.